The most stocked canned food in the American Prepper Pantry scores 61 calories per dollar. The S-tier winner on this list scores 449. That means roughly 70% of what people are spending on their emergency food budget is producing less than 15% of the survival return it could. You're not doing something wrong. You're doing something specifically, measurably, quantifiably wrong. And the data is sitting right there on the label, waiting for someone to read it. I read it. For 3 days, I pulled every canned food product available at Walmart and ran it through a 6-category weighted scoring system. Caloric efficiency at 40% of the total score, shelf life at 20%, protein density at 15, no cook viability at 10, taste at 10, and versatility at 5. I cross-referenced nutritional data from the USDA Food Data Central database against current Walmart.com pricing, and I scored every product. No nostalgia, no gut feeling, math. The results are going to change how you shop. Some of them are going to change how you feel about what's already on your shelf. Let's get into it. The Survival Maxim Rule 1. A calorie is currency, protein is power, and anything that doesn't contribute to both is shelf decoration with an expiration date. Everything in this ranking is evaluated against that principle and nothing else. F-tier, survival traps in a teen. F-tier products are not obscure. They're not unusual. They're the cans you walk past every trip to Walmart. The ones that feel right. The ones that show up in every generic prepping list because nobody stopped to run the numbers. That ends here. The Sugar Coffin, great value fruit cocktail, 15 ounces, 98 cents, 60 calories per can. Not per serving, per can, total. Caloric efficiency, 61 calories per dollar, 0 protein, 0 fat. The composition is fructose corn syrup, water, and fragments of what used to be fruit. In a survival context, the sugar spike briefly convinces your nervous system that calories have arrived, then crashes your blood glucose at exactly the moment you need stable energy. Metabolically dishonest food. This is the most commonly stocked canned product in American prepper pantries. That's not a coincidence. It's cheap, it's familiar, and nobody ran the numbers. F-tier. Leave it on the shelf. The water tax. Campbell's condensed tomato soup. 10.75 ounces, $1.48. The word that makes this can a survival trap is printed directly on the label, condensed. This product requires adding a full can of water before it functions as food. In a scenario where water is your most critical resource, you are burning a survival asset to unlock a caloric return that doesn't justify the expenditure. The full can delivers roughly 180 calories at condensed strength, approximately 120 calories per dollar. Still weak, and that's before factoring in what it costs to actually use it. The sodium is 870 milligrams per serving. Under survival hydration stress, that load pulls fluid from tissue to process it, accelerating the dehydration you're already managing. The defense of this product is always taste or familiarity. Neither is a survival argument. F-tier, the expensive nothing, great value. Canned asparagus, 14.5 ounces, $1.28, 25 calories per can. The lowest caloric content of any product on this list. The caloric efficiency is 19.5 calories per dollar, dead last in the entire ranking, and not close to second to last. 3 grams of protein. High folate, high vitamin K, excellent fiber. In a normal diet, eat asparagus. It's genuinely healthy. In a survival diet where your body is running caloric deficits and demanding fuel above everything else, the micronutrient content of canned asparagus becomes irrelevant before the emergency begins. This product is in prepper pantries because vegetables feel responsible and 78 cents feels economical. Both feelings are wrong in this context. F-tier, and it's not a close call. F-tier verdict. These cans don't earn shelf space in a working emergency stockpile. Every dollar that goes into F-tier is a dollar that could have delivered 7 times the caloric return in S-tier. The math is not subtle. D-tier, almost useful. Almost D-tier products have a real argument for inclusion. Each one does something that sounds valuable. The problem is the asterisk attached to that value. Conditions under which the argument holds and conditions under which it collapses. The garnish, great value. Green beans, 14.5 ounces, 78 cents, 35 calories per can. 45 calories per dollar. 2 grams of protein. What canned green beans offer in a survival stockpile is texture, variety, and a minor fiber contribution. They make mixed meals feel more like meals. They prevent the psychological deterioration that comes from eating the same 2 foods for 10 consecutive days. Morale is a real survival variable, and appetite suppression under sustained stress is a documented physiological response. Stock them after every higher tier is fully loaded. Not before. D tier. Not a mistake, not a priority. The glycemic trap. Great value. Unsweetened applesauce. 24 ounces, $1.98. 200 calories per jar. 101 calories per dollar. Zero protein. Zero fat. The survival problem with applesauce is the energy curve it produces. Simple fruit carbohydrates spike blood glucose, deliver a brief energy window, and drop you. In a scenario where you're performing physical work, managing stress, regulating temperature, and running on reduced caloric intake, a food source that creates energy instability is actively counterproductive. You eat it, you feel temporarily fine, and then you're lower than before. The legitimate use case is specific. Families with young children. Kids will eat applesauce without negotiation when stress has suppressed their appetite for anything else. It provides fast calories to a small body that desperately needs them. For a family with children, 4 cans is a tactical morale investment. For any other configuration, it's D tier. The sodium gamble. Hormel chili with beans. 15 ounces, $1.98. The most defended product in D tier. Here's why it's here anyway. 360 calories. 17 grams of protein. No cook. 182 calories per dollar. The case for Hormel chili sounds solid until you hit the single number that breaks it. 1,060 milligrams of sodium per can. Sodium processing is water dependent. Your kidneys need fluid to flush excess sodium. When water is abundant, a high sodium meal is a manageable trade-off. When water is limited, the defining condition of the scenario this stockpile is built for, that sodium load creates a dehydration feedback loop. Thirst increases. Water consumption has to increase proportionally. If it doesn't, the kidneys pull fluid from tissue. Documented renal physiology that degrades function before it becomes diagnosable. D tier under field conditions. With reliable, abundant, clean water, it climbs towards C. Stock it knowing which version of the world you're preparing for. D tier verdict. Real value, real conditions, real caveats. These belong in a complete stockpile. After everything above them is fully stocked and you have the shelf space to spare. Reality check. Most preppers are not actually prepared. They have the feeling of preparedness. The pantry has cans, the list has checkboxes, the YouTube videos have been watched. But when you calculate the actual caloric density and protein content of what's on those shelves, the gap between perceived preparedness and functional preparedness is often measured in days of life. Do the math on your pantry before the moment where the math matters arrives. The math is easy, the moment is not. C tier, the architecture. Tier C tier exists because survival is not only about macronutrients. These products have real caloric limitations, but they do specific things that nothing in the upper tiers replicates. Know what each one does before you stock it. The morale unit. Chef Boyardee beef ravioli. 15 ounces, $1.48, 210 calories. 7 grams of protein, 141 calories per dollar. 1,200 milligrams of sodium. No cook. And the specific reason this earns C tier over D, this product tastes like something a human being chose to eat. Morale has a physiological dimension most prepper frameworks ignore. When sustained psychological stress suppresses the will to eat, people chronically undereat. Undereating under physical stress creates compounding deficits, reduced energy, impaired decisions, degraded immunity. The process is invisible until it becomes a crisis. A can of beef ravioli breaks that pattern. It doesn't taste like survival math. In week 2, that distinction has measurable consequences. 4 to 6 cans in monthly rotation, not a primary fuel source. A psychological reset tool with a can opener. The flavor engine. Great value. Cream of mushroom soup. 10.75 ounces condensed, 78 cents. On its own, this product is inedible as a survival food. Condensed, water dependent. 200 calories at maximum strength and significantly less once diluted. As an ingredient, it is one of the most valuable products in this entire ranking. The science here is appetite regulation. Flavor perception is directly connected to how much a person eats in a sitting and how reliably they eat across a day. Food that tastes like emergency rations produces chronic undereating. Food that tastes like an actual meal produces adequate intake. Plain kidney beans taste like survival. Kidney beans with cream of mushroom soup taste like something you might make on a Tuesday. That difference over a 2-week timeline is measurable in total caloric intake and measurable in whether your body has what it needs. Cream of mushroom upgrades, plain rice, plain beans, canned protein combinations, anything you're already eating. The limitation is absolute. Without water and a heat source, this can is useless. C-tier conditional on those resources. If you have them, stock more of these than you think you need. The vitamin layer, great value, diced tomatoes. 14.5 ounces, 78 cents, 25 calories per can. On pure caloric math, this belongs in F tier. The framing is wrong. Scurvy, vitamin C deficiency, begins showing symptoms at 4 to 6 weeks of deprivation. Fatigue, joint pain, progressing to gum hemorrhaging and connective tissue failure. It will happen in a simplified survival diet that doesn't actively include vitamin C. Your kidney beans aren't providing it. Your canned chicken isn't providing it. Diced tomatoes are. 12 cans costs under $10 and covers the vitamin C gap for a month. Beyond the nutrition, diced tomatoes go into everything. Soups, stews, bean dishes, protein combinations. They are the flavor baseline that makes a monotonous survival rotation psychologically sustainable for 2 weeks instead of 3 days. C tier for calories. Essential by every other measure. C tier verdict. These don't power your survival. They make it survivable. Include them deliberately, with clear eyes about what each one does. B tier, solid performers, real caveats. B tier earns its shelf space without conditional arguments. These products perform reliably across multiple scoring categories. Each has a specific limitation that keeps it from A tier, a limitation you need to plan around, not ignore. The Sodium Tank Spam Classic, 12 ounces, $3.48, 720 calories per can. 36 grams of protein, ready to eat cold or hot, 207 calories per dollar, shelf-stable to 5 years. The argument for Spam Classic as a survival food is legitimate and widely made. The argument against Spam Classic is a single number, 2,790 milligrams of sodium per can. That exceeds the entire recommended daily sodium intake in one tin. Every physiological concern identified in D tier's hormel chili applies here at 2.5 times the concentration. The dehydration feedback loop that high-sodium food triggers in a water-limited environment is proportionally worse. Here's the honest calculus. If your water situation is solid, a deep well, a large storage supply, an active filtration system, Spam earns a more prominent rotation and begins approaching A tier in practical value. If water is your limiting resource, Spam at regular consumption is a compounding liability. B tier with a water asterisk that you need to evaluate honestly against your specific preparation. The sleeper hit, great value corned beef hash, 14 ounces, $2.98. The most underrated product in this entire ranking. 420 calories, 22 grams of protein, 140 calories per dollar, no cook, and the quality that earns it a place above most B-tier products, metabolic completeness. Corned beef hash contains fat, protein, and carbohydrates in a ratio that approximates how the human body is actually designed to run. Most canned products are heavy in one macronutrient category and sparse in others. You have to combine them to approximate a complete meal. Corned beef hash does the job in a single can. The taste is genuinely good. Not survival context good, actually good. The texture is satisfying in a way that pure protein or pure bean products aren't, which addresses the morale function without requiring a dedicated morale product slot. Sodium is approximately 1,000 milligrams per can, high but manageable under normal hydration. Minimum 6 cans in a month-long emergency kit. This is the product you open when you need a complete meal. No assembly, no pairing, no thought required. The sleeper hit of the Walmart canned food aisle. The honorary legend, great value peanut butter. 40 ounces, $2.98, not a can. Included anyway, 2,500 calories per jar, 90 grams of protein, 838 calories per dollar. A number that would top this entire ranking if peanut butter were eligible. Shelf-stable 1 to 2 years. No cooking, no water, no preparation. Immediately edible, maximum caloric and protein density per dollar. 0 complications. The limitations. Shelf life shorter than true canned goods. And the psychological reality of a peanut butter jar when hungry is that it disappears faster than planned. Buy one every time, regardless. If you're building your Walmart survival stockpile and you walk past the peanut butter aisle, you've made a mistake that the math cannot forgive. B tier verdict, these earn their space. Stock them after A and S tier are fully loaded. They're the depth of your survival bench. Reliable, capable, and ready when your primary options run thin. A tier, where real prepping begins. A-tier products excel across multiple scoring categories at the same time, not one bright spot surrounded by mediocrity. Genuinely strong performance in the metrics that keep people alive. A pantry full of A-tier and above isn't performing preparedness, it is preparedness. The protein anchor, great value. Chunk light tuna in water, 5 ounces, 98 cents, 110 calories. 25 grams of protein, 98 cents. That's 25.5 grams of protein per dollar, one of the highest protein per dollar ratios in the entire canned food aisle. No cook, 3 to 5 year shelf life. The omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, have documented effects on inflammation management and neurological performance under stress. In a survival diet that strips out most fat sources, the specific fatty acid profile matters more than it does in normal life. Tuna provides it efficiently and cheaply. The limitation: a 5-ounce can is not a standalone meal. It's a protein anchor that needs caloric partners. Kidney beans, pinto beans, rice. Pair it correctly and it becomes essential to every rotation. Available at Walmart in 12 packs for further price reduction per can. Buy it by the case. The foundation food, great value. Pinto beans, 15 ounces, 98 cents, 350 calories. 21 grams of protein, 98 cents, 357 calories per dollar. The complex carbohydrates in pinto beans release glucose slowly. Energy is extended and stable rather than spiked and crashed. Under simultaneous physical load, temperature regulation, and cognitive stress, a stable energy supply is not a comfort feature, it's a performance variable. The iron supports oxygen transport to working muscles. The folate supports cell repair as your body manages sustained stress. The fiber maintains digestive function in a simplified diet, something that becomes practically significant after week 1 when your food variety has been dramatically reduced. Technically edible cold in an emergency, meaningfully better when heated. The limitation is minor relative to the caloric return at under $1 a can. Stock them in quantity and pair them with S-tier protein sources for a complete meal at a price point that still feels unreasonable. The medical response item: Campbell's Chunky Chicken Noodle. 18.6 ounces, $2.48, 84 calories per dollar. Lowest efficiency in A-tier. Worth it anyway for a specific reason. 210 calories, 14 grams of protein, ready to eat, not condensed, not requiring reconstruction, actually ready from the can. And this is the only product in this ranking that serves as the sick day response. When someone in your group has a fever, their caloric and protein needs are elevated. The immune response is an energy-intensive process, but fever suppresses appetite simultaneously. The psychological resistance to heavy, dense food when genuinely ill is significant. Kidney beans and canned salmon are the right nutritional answer. They are not the answer that gets eaten by someone with a 102-degree fever who hasn't eaten in 12 hours. Warm chicken noodle soup is. The sodium here is actually useful, replacing electrolytes lost through sweat. The familiar flavor crosses the appetite barrier when nothing else will. 4 to 6 cans in a monthly kit. Not your primary caloric fuel, your immune response infrastructure. A-tier verdict: fuel, protein, vitamin coverage, and medical response capacity. That is what a stockpile built on A-tier and above delivers, not a simulation of preparedness. The actual thing. S-tier, the holy trinity. S-tier is not a recommendation, it is a directive. These 3 products, combined, represent a survival nutrition strategy that is genuinely difficult to improve upon at Walmart prices. Buy these first, build everything else around them. The Calorie King, great value. Dark red kidney beans, 15 ounces, 78 cents, 449 calories per dollar. The highest caloric efficiency on this list, not close. At 78 cents per can, you're getting 350 calories and 23 grams of protein, more than 7 times the caloric return per dollar of the fruit cocktail in F-tier. Nothing else in this ranking comes within 200 calories per dollar of that figure. The nutritional depth goes beyond the headline numbers. High iron for oxygen transport to working muscles. High folate for cell repair under sustained stress. Exceptional fiber that maintains gut function in a simplified diet. A variable that becomes practically significant faster than most people expect. Complex carbohydrates that deliver stable, extended energy rather than the spike and crash of simpler sources. Kidney beans are not a component of a survival diet. They are the foundation around which every other component is organized. The cold from the can limitation is eliminated by any heat source at all. Stove, sterno, open fire. Too small a concern to let it affect how much you stock. Buy more of these than anything else on this list. Every Walmart visit. The protein pillar, great value. Canned chicken breast, 12.5 ounces, $2.98, 56 grams of protein per can. That is approximately the complete daily recommended protein intake for most adults, from one tin under $3. No cooking required, ready to eat cold from the can. 3 to 5 year shelf life. 94 calories per dollar isn't the most calorie-efficient figure on this list, and that's intentional. This product isn't doing what beans do, it's doing what beans can't. Delivering dense, complete, shelf-stable protein at a price that makes serious stockpiling realistic. Canned chicken breast takes on the flavor of whatever it's paired with. It turns kidney beans into a protein-rich stew. It turns diced tomatoes into a viable main dish. It anchors the protein content of every meal combination in this stockpile. For anyone doing physical work in a survival scenario, and you will be doing physical work, the difference between adequate protein intake and inadequate protein intake is the difference between maintaining physical capability and losing it progressively across weeks. Muscle catabolism under sustained physical stress without dietary protein is not a slow background process. It's an active degradation of the body's ability to perform exactly what survival requires. This can prevent that. Pair it with kidney beans as the dual core of the S-tier strategy. These two together give you the foundation. Everything else is support structure. The micronutrient insurance, great value canned pink salmon. 14.75 ounces, $3.48, 490 calories. 65 grams of protein, $3.48. Those numbers are excellent. They're also not why this product is S-tier. Canned salmon is S-tier because it delivers the micronutrient profile that nothing else on this list provides. The nutrients that don't cause a visible emergency in week 1, but begin silent deterioration in week 3 if they're absent. Vitamin B12, neurological function, red blood cell formation, DNA synthesis. A survival diet built around beans and canned vegetables delivers near zero B12. The deficiency arrives gradually as fatigue and memory problems. Damage established before symptoms are obvious. Vitamin D, in a grid-down scenario, sun exposure drops. Most canned foods provide none. This one provides a meaningful dose per can, supporting immune function and mood regulation when both are already under pressure. Calcium from the bones. Canned salmon contains soft, fully edible bones. Do not remove them. They're your only real calcium source when dairy is gone. This detail separates people who understand long-duration nutrition from people who've only thought about week 1. Omega-3 fatty acids. Anti-inflammatory, cardiovascular, neurological. Maintenance nutrients that keep your body's systems functional under sustained stress. Absent at useful levels from everything else on this list. Preppers who think only in macronutrients hit the micronutrient wall around week 4 and don't understand why their performance is degrading. Preppers who stocked canned salmon won't. S-tier verdict, kidney beans for caloric foundation. Canned chicken for complete protein. Canned salmon for the micronutrient architecture that keeps your body capable for a month, not just fed for a week. The $50 Arsenal 10 cans. Great value dark red kidney beans, $7.80, 3,500 calories, 230 grams protein. 4 cans great value canned chicken breast, $11.92, 1,120 calories, 224 grams protein. 3 cans great value canned pink salmon, $10.44, 1,470 calories, 195 grams protein. 8 cans. Great value chunk light tuna and water, $7.84, 880 calories, 200 grams protein. 4 cans great value pinto beans, $3.92, 1,400 calories, 84 grams protein. 8 cans great value diced tomatoes on $6.24, vitamin C coverage and flavor architecture. 1 can great value corned beef hash, $2.98, 420 calories emergency comfort meal. Total approximately $51.14. Total usable calories 8,990. At 2,000 calories per day, 1 person, 4+ days. Double it, 9 days. Triple it, 2 weeks. Add 10 pounds of rice and 5 pounds of pasta, under $8 combined at the same Walmart. And the timeline extends to 3 weeks on a calorie-dense, nutritionally complete base for approximately $60 total. Run that math against what you currently have on your shelves. The survival days your pantry can actually deliver may be a different number than you think. The final punch. The difference between the prepper who makes it and the one who doesn't isn't mindset or motivation or the brand name on their tactical gear. It's caloric density per dollar. It's protein per shelf inch. Right now, those numbers are correctable. Kidney beans are 78 cents. Canned chicken is under $3. The window to run the math and fix the gaps is open. It closes when you actually need it. Drop your tier list in the comments. Tell me where I'm wrong on the Hormel chili. Tell me which S-tier product you're stacking first. Subscribe for the Dollar Tree version of this analysis. Same 6 criteria, different price point, results that are genuinely alarming. See you there. Stay calculated.